respected the decision of the court or the order. That's a whole ball of game. So this afternoon, one of the ladies that is in court with the MRC, Madame Law Nuchan, celebrated on her social media handle just 24 hours after the recent postponement of the case at the Ekuno First Instance Court. A document dated of August 19, 2026, that means some 7 days ago, where Paul Astanganji signed saying that he was not competent to act on the convention report of the MRC, the extraordinary convention that took place on the 21st of December 2025. He said he was not under his competency to act on that report. And so the lady took onto her social media handle celebrating that the Minat have recognized that the MRC extraordinary convention was illegal. That's not true. So we either classified her outing as manipulation and better still as a premature jubilation. We say manipulation because she was a forefront militant. So many people joined the party through her. And trusting her values, they are still under her magnet. And that was a call for other militants who see their posture as status to act more. For acting is an investment against tomorrow. Their impact, their relevance on the society is more on the impact they are creating today towards their action. So, Mr. Melib also published, Melib is the head counsel for the MRC lawyers. He also published the sentence of the Supreme Court back then, 2020, showing how the Supreme Court granted favor or the case success to CPP of Edith Kabbalah, a way to remind the Madame Nochan's fraction that it's too early to start celebrating, because cases of party infeudation where the Minat try to impose and overlook within the party does not date from today. And the same Lord Nochan, who, when she was within the MRC around, was opposing Atanganji move to change the name of Anise Ikane on the website to replace by Dieudonné Yebga. Today is almost validating a letter, though she didn't read it well, but she's already validating his posture. And so one starts questioning himself if it's not the same Atanganji that is instrumentalizing her, or she's not now so gullible that she can now accept things that yesterday she was totally against. We are equally seizing this opportunity to say that the MRC belongs to what we call the APC, the Alliance for Political Party for Change, that was created around the national coordination of Honorable Jean-Michel Ninche back around the 27th to the 29th of December 2023 during the Solarifi built for African businesses. Excel, QuickBooks, Sash, Odoo. You now have options. But does your software truly fit the way your business operates? Solarifi is built around OADA accounting. Record your daily transaction and keep your accounts organized within an OADA compliant system. And when it is time to report, generate your manual tax and financial reports, including the DSF, directly from your financial records in just few clicks. Less manual work, less repetition. But Solarifi is more than accounting. Manage sales, point of sales, inventory, purchases, customers and supplier, cash and banking, human resource and payroll, all connected in one system. Whether you run a pharmacy, a restaurant, a shop, a distribution company, a higher institution, NGO, or professional service, Solarifi brings your operation and accounting together. access your business from your computer or phone, get the information you need, use AI where it adds value, and understand your business without always depending on an accountant to explain the numbers. You don't need software built for someone else's business. You need software built for yours. Join the business already powered by Solarifi or other accounting, business management, one connected system. Visit solarifi.com, WhatsApp 676 01 5090. And equally, when you find yourself in a court case with people who are supposed to be your allies. And so within the MRC of Professor Maurice Kamto, we are having some little challenges. And so in this edition, we want to point out those challenges, but equally, we want to go deep to clarify those who might be lost in all what is happening. But before, we had the first video where we were talking about the femicide in Cameroon. So many people are decrying the situation of women being unjustly reduced to slave and killed by those who are supposed to protect them, who are men. And so we started in our first video this morning by saying that amongst the different people who have spoken about the situation, we have MRC of Professor Maurice Kamto, and in their outing, they decry the fact that the law in place does not punish sufficiently the perpetrators. I was calling on the government to not to take the case, like not to be protecting the perpetrators. Perpetrators should be sanctioned as if they had a premeditated, like their action was a premeditated act, so that the penalty will be heavy. That's one of the recommendations. To the women, the MRC suggested that they should not be submissive in an environment of violence. They should be able to make a difference between when their life is in danger and when they are truly living a marital home. So the general public, the MRC suggested that they should not cover situation of violence because it's a neighbor, because it's a friend, because it's if an ogre, somebody who gives you money or give you tips regularly, because it's a parent. Any case of violence that you observe around you, you should be able to denounce it. So those were some of the suggestions that the MRC made, and ended up by decrying the fact that the power in place is looking elsewhere, why the femicide situation is increasing. In their communique, they spoke of 8 days on consecutively, and 8 women nationwide have been killed through that only means. We are not counting women who are dying out of accident, road accident, who are dying because of mudslides, who are dying, who are unreported. Note that not all cases are truly reported as per se. There are still cases that you may like to believe that they are not reported. So in the midst of all this, the MRC simply says that we must get up as a people and make injustice and shame injustice and bring those who are perpetrating this act to book. It takes collective responsibility to put an end in a social ill. If we have not been able to fight corruption, if we have not been able to fight some ills in our society, at least those that are touching directly into human life, we should be able to stand up for. These are mother of children, these are our sisters, these are our mothers, the more reason why we should take effect. And so our analysis focus on the fact that why is the government looking elsewhere? First, because this government is not legitimate. They know that they can be in power without our help. They know that we sanctioned them on October the 25th, October the 12th polls, 2025. And so in order to punish us for choosing some other person who is now on exile, Issa Choma Bakari. They are abandoning us. Though we remember back in 2023, Minister Paul Atanganji made a very powerful outing. Back then, the toll was not as higher as it is now, but summarily, he was saying that if you cannot sustain the mouth of a woman, don't get married. If God gave strength to men, to women, he gave their mouth, and they use their mouth to regulate their own power in the society, even though that is according to Paul Atanganji. Because when it comes to women marginalization, you have to trace it back to civilization, Western civilization, where you had people like Cleopatra who had to develop the art of seduction in order to regulate power in their own time. So, after criticizing why the government is looking elsewhere nowadays, there is need for us to give some suggestions to the young men. I see young men more of victims than perpetrators. Though, when the way the picture is painted, they appear to be both. They are victims because they live in a matrix society where the government uses women's fragility to set a trap for men. You go to prison, most men that are detained are for most of the time reason related directly or indirectly to women, because they want to impress women. And the fact that men are groomed to believe that they must impress women, most of them end up in a mirage. They end up in a situation where they are confused. The more effort they put to impress the women, the more unrecognizable these women become. So, most cases of violence on women result from men who have not learned how to build their masculinity outside of impression. And that is why we recommend to men to hit the gym. That anger, that docile anger, that stays into us. That makes us look weak when a woman disrespects us, when a woman cheats on us. We must be able to address it by hitting the gym. That energy needs to be used to pound mass at the gym and not on a woman's jaw, and not using weapon to slaughter them. No. So we must do it now as an obligation, because the situation where we find ourselves, we resulting of injustice, social imbalance, where men who have embezzled money tend to be the sugar daddy for all women, and those who have not had the privilege to have some position or who have ascended power illegally find themselves as if they find themselves lost. It is a soul that is lost that think of revenge by itself, that wants to bring justice to his own self. When things are out of hand, talk to somebody. More and more, people are more focused on the impression they want to create than the discussion they want, than the conversation they are putting out there. We hold so much for ourselves to the point that we cannot more control. And when it reaches that point, we find ourselves simply victims. So our call is that we must get back our masculinity, respect the givers of life. Women are not only our companions, they are givers of life. If every man was to react violently to women who disrespect them, who cheat on them, believe me, there will be no humanity. Humanity will go to extinction. The earlier we get used to their nature, the better we chart better way forward. So that is that as of the first case. The second case is that of the Wahala in the MRC. Whether you like it or not, the conversation is out there, but the intention is clear to confuse you. Back in 2020, the CPP, Cameroon's People Party of Idinka Wahala, had a similar situation where people initially allied in the party brought situation of conflict, and they may not jump in and instead gave, allowed the troublemakers to win the case because of his own personal perception with Edika Bawala. She had to pursue the case in court and took it to the Supreme Court and win it there. Now, whether they may not later respected the decision of the court or the order. That's a whole ball of game. So this afternoon, one of the ladies that is in court with the MRC, Madame Law Nochan, celebrated on her social media handle just 24 hours after the recent postponement of the case at the Ekuno First Instance Court. A document dated of August 19, 2026, that means some 7 days ago, where Paul Astanganji signed saying that he was not competent to act on the convention report of the MRC, the extraordinary convention that took place on the 21st of December 2025. He said he was not under his competency to act on that report. And so the lady took onto her social media handle celebrating that the Minat have recognized that the MRC extraordinary convention was illegal. That's not true. So we either classified her outing as manipulation and better still as a premature jubilation. We say manipulation because she was a forefront militant. So many people joined the party through her. And trusting her values, they are still under her magnet. And that was a call for other militants who see their posture as status to act more. For acting is an investment against tomorrow. Their impact, their relevance on the society is more on the impact they are creating today towards their action. So, Mr. Melib also published, Melib is the head counsel for the MRC lawyers. He also published the sentence of the Supreme Court back then, 2020, showing how the Supreme Court granted favor or the case success to CPP of Edith Kavala, a way to remind the Madame Nochan's fraction that it's too early to start celebrating, because cases of party infeudation where the Minat try to impose and overlook within the party does not date from today. And the same Law Nochan, who, when she was within the MRC around, was opposing Atanganji move to change the name of Anise Ikane on the website to replace by Dieudonné Yebga. Today is almost validating a letter, though she didn't read it well, but she's already validating his posture. And so one starts questioning himself if it's not the same Atanganji that is instrumentalizing her, or she's not now so gullible that she can now accept things that yesterday she was totally against. We are equally seizing this opportunity to say that the MRC belongs to what we call the APC, the Alliance for Political Party for Change, that was created around the national coordination of Honorable Jean-Michel Ninche back around the 27th to the 29th of December 2023 during the second national convention of the MRC at the Multipurpose Conference Center in Yaoundé, with the objective to mobilize a coalited list to present a candidate that is an issue that comes from a coalition. And so that coalition was not limited to the presidential election. Guess what? The forthcoming election, even if the MRC finds itself in an intermediate quagmire, is going to be resourceful to the other party. The injunction this time around will be to vote everything except the CPDM and all the parties that have supported them before. You know those infuriated parties. We are going to sort them out one after another. And just like we did on October the 12th, you vote, send message to your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, pay them transport if necessary, accompany them to the polling center if necessary, to vote and stand there, watch your election, and celebrate the result by 6 p.m. That is going to be the same practice. All those parties who have mingled around with the CPDM and are now seeking for ways to repent. It's too late. It's too late. Cameroonians who are now having to deal with the situation of feminicides have it up to here. They are looking for a way out. And we must give the legislative arm of the government a stronger power than before to see how we can regulate, at least at the level of the laws that can help us live in a serene environment. And that's going to happen through the MRC or any other party within the APC that the people are going to validate. I want to seize this opportunity also to thank Solarifi, which is partner to this program, for trusting our values, our methodology. And Solarifi is just that company that have created an accounting software that helps you in some few clicks to produce your balance sheet, your tax report, and to know the situation of your stock. More details is going to be put on the comment section. Please click, visit the website, and do business with them because they trust our method. It's also an opportunity to remind you about the obligation to share. Where we find ourselves today is not a position of choice. We either be with people who are speaking the truth or hang with fake news spreader and suffocate out of misinformation. Information kills. Misinformation even does worse. So mind you on where you spend your time, where you spend your data, and for what purpose. I also urge you to subscribe. Click the notification bell so that each time we are live or we produce a content, you are the first to take your position. Share to friends, to family members, people you love most first, then to WhatsApp group and other union platform. Tomorrow, people will remember you for sharing good news. I'll be yours again subsequently. Until then, stay out of trouble. It's been Cyril, African News with full integrity. Ciao. Bye-bye.